everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, Stephen Stark, and joining me, as always, my lovely co-hosts, Nessie and John. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. Nessie, you just come off vacation, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 2 weeks of vacation. It was very relaxing. It's been great. Um, haven't had any time off, since COVID started. So just being able to just relax, unwind, get away from everything, quit talking about, work. It was great.
Fantastic. Glad to hear
But
that you.
I was where there was not access to Disney Plus, so I had to do the Grand Slam and watch everything when I got back home.
Yeah, John, I'm a little bit jealous of the shirt. It's very nice.
Yeah, I ordered it, and thankfully it came in the mail in time to wear for today. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, this season is sad. It's time to feel sad about the Younglings season. So
yeah, so season 5 of the Clone Wars, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Are we? I was not aware of this. Oh yeah, I guess we are.
It's 5? Man, I thought we were doing 6. God, oh, never mind.
But seriously, though, well, I'm just going to give my sort of like overall, and then we'll go around and get everybody's. But man, best season so far by a pretty significant margin, even I would say, and that's coming off of season 4, which I also really enjoyed.
I'm really glad to hear you guys say that, because I tried to temper expectations, just in case. But yeah, I mean, season 5 really took things to another level, which just made it like, oh, gonna make sure our host doesn't choke to death before I continue.
Do not attempt to breathe coffee.
But no, it's and even though I wasn't watching the show when it originally aired, I know what the heartache was when a week after the season finale aired of season 5, the announcement came down that that the show was getting canceled because Lucasfilm had been purchased by Disney, and they decided to move on to just a whole new era of Star Wars. And Clone Wars fans, got the short end of the stick, unfortunately.
At least for a little while.
Yeah. A little while. It was a regrouping.
Yeah, but and Nessie, I want to go ahead and hear your general thoughts of the season.
This season was fantastic, where, the promise that we've seen in the prior seasons, especially in the last season, where all the plot lines are just and the arcs are just starting to flow smoothly into one another. It really had crossed that boundary, and it seemed like it was almost one seamless story this season. We started up right where we left off, and it was action-packed, and then all the way through till the final episode that just, oh my God.
I mean, my heart is aching just looking at your background,
Stephen.
Right? Yeah. That's such a epic shot.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, I don't think any other episode of this show has actually like brought me that much emotion. Like, there were a couple little tears at the end of that episode, which I don't think the show has done to me before.
Yeah, and this was the first time that Filoni said he had been trying to get away with this in the past, but it was the first time he was allowed to end the episode without the traditional, like, cut to happy epic Star Wars music,
Right.
for the end credits, and it really just drives home that emotion and the heartache of the episode. And
I was legit mad. I was mad and I was yelling at my TV. Like, you idiots. I don't do that very often, but when I do it at the Jedi Council.
Right. Oh man, ain't that the truth?
Can I say, before we get into like in-depth discussions of the episodes, this going back.
Quick, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
A family emergency. I've got to go off camera. Okay.
Okay. Just one of the biggest pleasures of this season, though, from like a fun level, is Hondo Anaka. We are pirates. We don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I can't remember what he doesn't remember. It doesn't know what it means, but I remember him saying that. It's very good. He was, and the thing is, they really have struck a nice chord with that character, because he can be both intimidating and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. Which
is not always very easy to do.
No, and I'm trying to. It's funny because I feel like this season really set the stage for what would come next with his character, but that's kind of spoilerish.
Yeah, well,
as to in what capacity he comes back, because it may not be in the way that you expect. But yeah, it's just, I love it. And I wonder, what did you think of the fact that they opened up this season with starting off with the first part of the Darth Maul arc, because chronologically that episode actually goes with the other three later on in the season, but they figured, because of the way they left things off in season 4, it's like we cannot ask people to wait for the Maul story to resume until the second half of the season.
I think it would have been fine if they had left it, to be honest with you. I think it would have been okay if they had just moved it to, what do you call it? Left that arc as 4 episodes.
Yeah, because
I would have been fine with that.
And actually, I noticed this time around that actually the Hondo story actually makes a bit more sense that way, because in that episode, you hear him talking about how the Separatists have come through and ruined his empire, which we actually see at the conclusion of the Younglings arc.
Right.
And so once again, Clone Wars fiddling with chronology, but it's all good. But yeah, I was going to say Hondo is voiced by an actor named Jim Cummings. He's a very famous voice actor. I think I'm trying to remember which one of I think he played Ed in The Lion King, the hyena who's always like, laughing, cracking.
Okay. Well, the one that's not Whoopi Goldberg or Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thanks for dropping by, Miss Man Jones. I hope you make it back for the rest of for the live at some point. If not, watch later. Thanks for coming, though.
But yeah, no. So we were just talking about the joy that is Hondo Anaka.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up in quite a few of the story arcs this season. I love to see the where we were thinking in the last episode we did on this. We got so much of the underworld, which was great. We got all of those seedy characters that are like, yeah, the Empire, the Republic sucks, but you know what? The Separatists suck too. We just kind of like gonna do our own thing. We'll deal with anybody. Yeah, it was kind of cool. And Hondo did come through in the clinch, when he was gun smuggling for the clandestinely there for, Obi-Wan. So that was kind of cool. And he did kind of show like a couple of little, like maybe some cracks in the hardened criminal exterior. Maybe one or two little.
Depending on what day of the week it is, though. Like,
well, there is that. Like today,
today.
Today he might, want to, capture some younglings, but the next day we're not having child soldiers. So
right.
Yeah. But
Like,
the little nod and the wink,
It's so hard to keep like information to myself about where that character goes from here, because it's very interesting that his arc in this season ends with his bond with the younglings, just because of, I'm not going to say.
Yeah, stop it.
Just because I think it's leading up to the next arc in his story, which is great, a great part of going back and rewatching this. But like, I know we have to like start from the beginning and work our way through, but I really want to say, like, it was so emotional sitting through this season again, because even though there is technically what's called season 6, which actually got released to Netflix back in the day after the show had been canceled, because what it was they had a certain amount of episodes that were in the can and that could be released, but it wasn't like a full season. It was episodes that belonged in a season 6 that was not completed.
Right.
And so in a lot of ways, this does feel like, the end of one era of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, because like it kind of broke my heart, Stephen, when you posted in the Slack. You're like, I'm legit hyped for season 6 now, and I'm like, the reasons you're hyped for season 6 like weren't actually satisfied with those
until season 7.
I'm hyped for season 7.
But there's some great stuff in those episodes, though, which originally they were called the Lost Missions, not season 6.
Right.
So, but we're actually going to have a talk about what you guys want to do pressing forward once we get through those lost episodes.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Because there's the one way, which is the experience that fans had throughout all those years of going through the journey of Rebels, which picked up a lot of strands. And we don't have to. I'm just saying.
You certainly are like starting to lay it out.
It's things to think about, because we could very easily just go into season 7, but there's just years of story that
but like okay, I'll tell you what I want. I want to finish season 7, then I want to watch Rebels, then I want to watch The Bad Batch.
Okay, I have more to say on that, but let's talk about season 5.
Let's talk about season 5.
I guess I'll be the split in the decision, the tiebreaker, whatever that's going to be.
You can't make me do anything.
Well, when we start off,
I can't.
After the which we can save talking about that first Maul episode until we like dive into his whole arc, because I want to ask you guys about the Onderon arc. Did you guys expect to see Saw Gerrera?
I knew
he was in the show.
Okay.
I knew he was in the show. I didn't know exactly where, but when he popped up, I was like, "Oh yeah,
there he is,
Forrest Whitaker."
Which
it's really not Forrest Whitaker.
It's not, because this was before Rogue One.
Well, it doesn't even really look like Forrest Whitaker.
Not even a little. But you know what?
But they got a good actor to play him.
They got a good actor to voice him, and the animation was superb. So
yeah, that's why I remember a lot of people when Rogue One came out, they announced like the cast list. A lot of Clone Wars fans were like, "Holy crap, Saw Gerrera is going to be in this," because they remembered him from this arc of the show.
yeah.
So it's really great how they've, like, the story group has picked up strands from, even like single arcs of the Clone Wars and built them into the larger mythology.
Yeah, well, and that character is already well placed to be in Rogue One, just because he's he's sort of a radicalized freedom fighter.
Freedom fighter.
And it's sort of the tragedy of his story, because as we see
trained by the best
in this arc, yeah, he's been trained by the Jedi, but he's been a rebel since during the Clone Wars, and the tragedy is his fight never ends.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. And he wasn't on, he wasn't really like, he was for his planet. He didn't really want to choose a side in the battle of, for who controls the galaxy. He was trying to, save his planet and his people. So yeah, him being in Rogue One is certainly not a surprise at all. And especially with this background. So it was cool to see him show up. And Lux, it was great to see that Lux grew up and has kind of straightened his act out a little bit.
Yeah.
When last we saw him, he was very confused and, making deals with Death Watch and just out for revenge. So he's really growing into the potential that he showed early on.
Yeah, I hope that he gets some more story going forward. Like, I'm sorry, there are a couple of such monumental things that happen later on in the season that
all our kids are growing up.
I'm like, Onderon, oh yeah, way back on Onderon, I remember that.
But yeah, I just want to cover a couple things about Saw, because I think the great thing about going into this and watching this story is you see what kind of drives him later on in life, because I think he carries around a lot of guilt about his sister, and that he blames himself, and he's taking up the mantle of her leadership. And thank you, Amy. I seriously, I love this shirt. It's just great, and the design on the sides and everything. But yeah, and later on in Star Wars animation, I'll say, you do see like more of what leads to him, and see him slowly fall apart, because of course, as we know from Rogue One, he's not all there by that point, and both physically and figuratively. But yeah, it really kind of just adds to like the way that character goes down in Rogue One. It's sad. It's a tragedy when you see all that he's given to first, his planet, and then the Rebel Alliance later on.
Yeah, and that's quite a lot that those people go through in the Onderon arc, and it happens again in the Mandalore arc, where there's this sort of like double dealing, underhanded stuff going on that people aren't always aware of, and I like that they're starting to incorporate that more and more. A corrupt system is usually corrupt because of individuals corrupting it. Now that becomes systemic at some point, because it will breed more of the same type of people and what have you. But it's nice to see that they're taking a little more realistic view of that type of thing.
And you really get the layers are there in, I mean, not that they haven't been throughout the show, but especially in this first arc, and become more prevalent throughout the season, this idea of the way in which the Jedi are waging war, or the way they think they are, and how they hold to their values, and versus just what the rest of the Republic kind of sees them doing. And it's very important in this Onderon arc that they they not be seen as directly intervening as though they're breaking some kind of code, but at the end of the day, people are suffering, and
yeah, but they have to worry about their optics.
Yeah,
you really do see the Jedi start taking black eyes, a lot of black eyes in this season. They're now viewed out in the galaxy at large as having betrayed. They're warmongers. They're not peacekeepers. And then toward the end of the season, you see, especially Tarkin, screw him, saying, "Oh, you guys need to step back. This is a military affair. This, trying to just separate them and isolate them now that they've, I guess, in Palpatine's master plan has, fallen out of favor. So their fall from grace is all but assured at this point."
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even Mace
power.
Even Mace Windu, who, by the way, is Major Dick, in this season especially. Even he says in the last arc of the season, it's not hard to imagine, what the motivation would be for. What the motive would be for blowing up the temple, because of the way, public opinion is swaying against them, as he puts it.
Right. They're blamed for fighting the war and losing and not winning the war. It's just, there's one bad thing on top of another, one foul thing, and then interfering when they're not supposed to be interfering, and not interfering when they should be, they can't win. They're set up for failure.
Basically, every episode this whole season had some shades of that going on. Maybe with the exception of the droid arc, but yeah, we'll come back to that later. There were a couple things on Onderon that bothered me. Okay. And they're like the type of thing that always bothers me. You have a king and a general and who knows how many other like qualified, experienced military people. But let's put this 17-year-old girl in charge of everything because she pulled off one mission. Like, sorry, don't buy it.
Oh, but that's not what Clone Wars is about, Stephen.
and as Rex himself says, she's a born leader. She's
it's a coming of age story. This Clone Wars is a coming of age story. It's not about the old guard. It's all about the younger generation. Stepping up. Come on. Where this is a YA thing, man.
I mean, that's kind of all like that's Game of Thrones all over, Stephen. It's like that's especially the books are all about really young people coming to power.
In the situation they're in because the people above them are dead. Maybe if the general had died, it wasn't standing right there and going, "Good job, 17-year-old."
Yeah, but it's all about who's inspiring the people, and she's in a position to have done that. Stephen, I'm sorry.
One of the things that bugs me about it happens sometimes. I'll get over it, because my only other complaint was I knew she was going to die probably from the first episode she was introduced. Just couldn't by the way that they were talking, though they were featuring her and they were talking about her and building her up. I'm like, sorry, you gonna die.
You're about to martyr yourself, aren't you?
Yep. But I did like kind of how they went about it,
Yeah.
Because they sort of like had that moment where, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen 3 or 4 times and it doesn't happen. And then when it finally does, maybe they had me fooled a little bit. Oh, maybe they're not going to kill her. And then Yeah.
I do want to go back for at the risk of digging, us deeper into this, like the older general, who, let's not forget that he was previously like a traitor to that cause. Like, it makes sense to me that they're going to go with the person who's been leading, who's actually been leading the resistance. So, okay, we can move on.
That's because the resistance inspired new life into the king, and he was just renewed to helping his planet and people by the actions of these young people, these young kids. So, yeah, yay them. It's kind of cute. It is kind of cute. If this had been on Adult Swim, we might have got a different arc, but it was on Cartoon Network, so you just got to go with that. Accept it.
Okay, I can accept that.
And I also want to but also at the same time, it aired on Cartoon Network, but like the stuff they show just in terms of soldiers getting taken out, the fact that Steela does die, and it's actually heavy stuff for a younger audience, which is why you get the balance of we're gonna show you death and destruction this week, but we're gonna have a really crazy droid arc a couple weeks down the line. But that's the balance so that you can get to, we're not talking about yet, but obviously like the Darth Maul arc, which is like, as dark and serious Star Wars as you can get. So, but
that was a pretty wow. That did not end the way that I expected it to, but the Darth Maul arc was like good stuff. That was the good stuff. And I did pick up, John, Son of Dathomir. So now that I watched this season, I feel like I can pick it up and start reading it.
I really enjoyed that too. I'm glad we got to see Palpatine doing his like full on
his Palpy best,
his Palpy best. That was so good. Like, I mean, we'll say the one thing that this show has really done great is making the lightsaber fights work in a way that looks really fast and kinetic and carries weight behind it, but just not so fast that you can't follow it with the eye. Like, you can still see what's happening, but they're whipping around and doing all this craziness, and I'm just like, yes, give it to me.
Mm-hmm. And without like spoiling anything, and I'm sure you guys probably heard about this anyway, but like when they went back to do season 7, there's a lightsaber fight, which we won't say between who, but I'm sure you guys probably know, where they did motion capture for that fight, and the way that looks is just out of this world astonishing. So just wait till you guys get there. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
But
watching Darth Maul dual wield with the dark saber and his red Sith saber.
And let's be honest, the dark saber looks so cool.
Sexy.
Like the animation for it. Sexy. Like the motion blur they use on it. Yes. Man, it looks so good.
Yes.
So I have to say, like, you guys gonna be looking at that dark saber a little bit different in Mandalorian after this show.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna push on from Onderon, and let's talk about Younglings. There's the whole arc of the Youngling stuff, which
man, I know.
Which was good.
It was great. I loved the Youngling episode, and I hated watching it because rip them kids. Don't make me care about these kids. Don't give them names now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I find myself like I was literally wondering, looking at that kid, is that the one we see like
know?
get shot down by clone troopers, because it's entirely possible the age
Yeah.
would be maybe
Be about right. Because there's not much.
not the little kid ones, but like the one that's on the landing pad, and yeah.
And even if it's not exactly, we can probably presume that those kids die in Order 66. Yeah,
they're dead.
So it's just
even the little Wookiee with his wooden lightsaber, which was so freaking cool, you know.
I mean, a little mini Wookiee Jedi is cute enough, but then they name him Gunji, which is like so cute.
With his wooden lightsaber, I'm like, oh, he's so precious. Rip. I'm crying now. Thank you, Dave Filoni.
But I just loved everything about, especially like that first episode, and you got them going to Ilum, the ice planet, and this is where all the Jedi go. And we hear the droid talk about how this was the most at the end of the arc. He's like, this was the most exciting adventure to Ilum and back since Master Yoda. It's like, can we hear that story?
No, we can know nothing.
All right, start writing your fanfics.
Which, by the way, do you know that droid was voiced by David Tennant?
I did not know that.
No, the credits pass on this so quickly. I saw it's so fast.
Yeah.
And I saw Tim Curry on there on one episode. I was like, what? Who was?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah, actually, because R.I.P. Ian Abercrombie, who voiced Emperor Palpatine through most of the series, and he passed away. So you can notice there's a couple times sprinkled throughout, and also significantly in the final episode, where the Emperor is voiced by Tim Curry. Now because because Ian Abercrombie passed away, which, if you're going to have to change voice actors and you like, oh darn, we got to go to Tim Curry now. It's not a bad way to go.
It's not. It could be a lot worse.
If you want someone to recreate the voice of darkness in your cartoon series, just call on Tim. He'll get the job done for you.
I mean, Dr. Frankenfurter, Sheev Palpatine, basically the same guy.
Same guy, just some evil dude.
Sexy evil dude.
Sexy evil dude, yeah. Well, according to some.
According to some.
Remain nameless. Helen. I'm kidding.
Right. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It also, though, demonstrates one of the larger problems going on with the Jedi Order, in that these are legit children who are placed in a situation during an all-out war where they fall into the hands of somebody who wants to use them to gain a profit or for nefarious purposes or whatever. Like, it's the whole child soldier argument again.
They're not protecting the kids. They're not protecting the next generation, which just shows how vulnerable that next generation is. And they're constantly being put in the line of danger.
I'm really conflicted about the fact that they sent these younglings, all the way out there during wartime with, a Padawan looking after them, as much as Ahsoka, very happy that they're, giving her independence and sending her out on her own and giving her responsibility that she deserves. But on the other hand, it's like, what if something happens?
Clone troops with them. They could have sent, something.
Yeah.
Well, they've got a mech droid. They're fine.
Yeah, they've got one droid and one Padawan. Well, they go to the extremely scary, quite dangerous Ilum ice caves to find their crystals.
Do we want to send Master Yoda with them? No, we'll just have him waiting for them, and then he'll just not go with them to return.
Right.
Now, what was he even doing there if he wasn't going to like escorting the kids? How did he get back? They took 2 buses. Who was the chaperone?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yoda came in his own car.
And nobody's chaperoning these kids. You know.
But
I found the kids, the youngling characters, interesting, each in their own way. They each had their own sort of like personality. They each had their own things to overcome, their own strengths and weaknesses. I appreciated that. And let's be honest, this is a kid's show. So there's like, you want your target audience to have characters that they can identify with as closely as possible. And these younglings are that. And the fact that they get to have a 4-episode arc with Yoda in it, but also with Ahsoka, who is probably the most popular character in the show altogether. Yeah, it's a strong thing for a child to see that representation of self up there. And I like that they made, this one's techie, this one's more brash, this one's shy, this one's outgoing. And I don't know. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, my memory of this season was that there were like absolute top tier episodes, like bookending the season, but that there was sort of lighter fare taking up the middle. I was really impressed with how, going back to it, how involving, especially the youngling arc was, and
then
then
I expected it to be.
Yeah, and then even I don't want to talk about it just yet, but the droid arc is so zany and kind of bizarre that it ends up being a lot of fun. But I do want to say about the kids, it was cracking me up because this time around I recognized the voice of the human kid as Jeff from American Dad. Which is Haley's boyfriend.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't want to say it pulled me out of it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it either. So, but that was great. But no, yeah, you're right. All the kids were great, and I love that there was like each one of them kind of resembled like either a Jedi that we and know, or in the case of the Wookiee, like we think
character,
we think Chewbacca, and
they literally just lifted Chewbacca's sounds and put them in, but like
little Chewbacca, fine. I love him.
It's fine.
Little Greedo, I love her. Yeah.
And
the hammerhead guy, It's like all of the bounty hunters kind of were represented. It was great.
Yeah. And, like we were talking about earlier, we also get, Uncle Hondo thrown into
Uncle Hondo. Is that what we're going to call him now? Uncle Hondo coming up for, an adventure with the kids. Crazy Uncle Hondo. What's he going to do this time? I don't know if it's a kidnapping or not.
But yeah, no, it's like you said, Steve. It's he says depending on the day of the week, and and by the end they catch him on a good day. And
well, he was kind of backed into a good day.
Well, and they had worked together. I think Hondo has some degree of loyalty to the people he cares about. He's clear, like Hondo for me is chaotic neutral. As chaotic neutral as they come.
Very much so. He is for himself and by any means necessary. By hook or by crook.
He's the guy, like somebody walks into the store with a gun. Hondo's the guy that tackles him and then grabs a couple bags of chips and runs out the door.
I also like
takes him down for what's in his pockets, you know.
something that's really fun about his character too, which is in the first episode of the season, is like his men outright betray him, but he's proud of them.
You're a pirate.
Like, I'm so proud. And then he's like,
Hondo, Yondo, Yandu, they're kind of similar. Yandu, Hondo, yeah, they're kind of names sound similar.
Yeah, okay. There are shades of that.
There are
characters in each
shades.
other.
You know, pirates be pirates. They be pirating. Take what you can.
I
Give
just want to hear Hondo. No, I just want to hear Hondo say, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all." Anything else to say about the Youngling arc? There's probably plenty to say.
It was really great to see actually how the lightsabers being created. You know, we kind of heard about it. It was actually kind of cool to see that process. You know, and each of the Younglings, they had to do it with the Force, with their mind, attuning with the crystal while they're doing it, and then to see each one of those come out like blue, blue, green, blue, green, green. You know, it was, yeah, we know where these kids are not going to go. But it was cool, you know. Didn't see a yellow one, though. No yellow.
Yellow is extremely rare. Ahsoka has a... Okay, let's talk about Ahsoka's lightsabers for just a second, because this is something that, like, I know it will be, like, her lightsaber color depends on, like, what time period you're talking about. Let's just talk about this season. One is green, and one is kind of green.
Ish.
I mean, it looks like it has been more yellow in past seasons.
no, it's
Like green and yellow, I would say were her colors before.
I mean, as far as I was aware, I thought that they were both green.
They are not the same color.
Let me.
Like, I have a sharp eye for color. They are not the same color. And her yellowish one is more green this season than it has been in the past. Okay, like riveting conversation, y'all. I know we don't, and I don't have a. Yeah, see, Dan says Viridian, and that might be correct. Like, there's a who isn't the same color? Ahsoka Tano's lightsabers. She's got two. One is green. Pretty sure the other one's yellow.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of pictures of two green sabers.
Okay. Now, I'm going to look. Okay.
It's just going to put the whole thing on hold.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm looking, and they're definitely, okay, they're not the same green. They're not the same color. One is yellower.
Okay, they're different.
It's more like Mountain Dew?
They're different shades of green.
Okay.
This is a different shade. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Phil H agrees.
Not interesting to watch me look at pictures of Ahsoka, but
yeah, Phil H agrees with Steven.
Yellow is an extremely rare lightsaber color. Do you guys subscribe to the idea that the lightsaber color says something about the type of Jedi that you're going to be?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, me too. Like the blue ones are supposed to be basically better warriors, and green lightsabers are supposed to belong to the people who will be more like, they will use their lightsaber less. They'll be more reliant on the Force. Their Force powers will be stronger than their lightsaber skills.
I will say that the
and Mace Windu just got a custom color, so
I will say as far as yellow sabers, you do see the Jedi Temple Guard wielding yellow sabers in the final arc.
Yeah, we do get to see those.
Yeah, but and yeah, you'll of course,
being jerks.
Of course, the Sith end up with Red because of their unique connection with the Force. So, in the Star Wars RPGs, they made one for the D20 system, which was like.
Thank you. I was going to put that up if you didn't.
Like, man, I'm going to have some things to say about Mace when we talk about those final episodes.
But the yellow, so the blue ones are basically fighters. The green ones are basically wizards, and the yellow ones are basically rogues. That's why you don't see a lot of them around, because they're the ones that are out doing.
Are you just like combining Star Wars and D&D, Steven?
You're not?
This is literally from the D&D supplement that was Star Wars.
Okay, yeah.
Don't fight
I didn't make that up. That comes from people who worked on the game.
I believe it. Sounds about right to me.
But that comes from some other source material. Anyway, I digress.
So what does black mean?
It means you're king and you're the emperor of
You're the emperor of Mandalore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what black means.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about, like, what did you guys think of the droid arc? I'm genuinely curious.
It was the best droid arc so far. It was the weakest part of the season. Largely not because of the droids, but because of Colonel Gascon.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh,
I
no.
wanted to
Gascon, no. First off, his name is Gascon, and that guy's a jerk. And anything I've seen, any person named Gascon is a jerk. Sorry if you're watching this, but he's a jerk.
I wanted to step on him oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm sorry, his name was Colonel Meber Gascon. I just think that's utterly hilarious.
I think you mean Corporal.
Corporal. Yes.
Do you know that this arc was George Lucas's favorite set of episodes from the Clone Wars?
Really?
Because he loves the droids.
Okay. Now the droids were great in this. The droids were great in this, and I love how they. Okay. I'm gonna go off for a
they
second.
stood up. I will say I didn't. For brevity, I did not watch the entire droid arc. That is those are the episodes that I edited. But I did watch.
Oh, Nessie!
I had to, Ness. Sacrifices had to be made.
Yeah, she was under a time crunch. She had to do what she had to do.
Sacrifices had to be made.
I am so disappointed.
I did watch the first one, and much like Steven said, I wanted to stomp on him. He reminded me of Plankton off of SpongeBob. He just was not a pleasant dude. And I did like the way that Cyclops kind of stood up to him and like, I'm not a mech. I'm a.
His name is Whack.
Whack, yeah.
Not Cyclops.
Yeah. But Whack, yeah.
But
he
to me,
stood up to him.
So the highlight of the episode of that whole arc for me, though, was QTKT, who is a design inspired by R2KT. Do you guys know the story of R2KT? I'm going to guess you don't.
I guess we're about to be enlightened.
Okay.
Steven's going to tell us the story.
Katie Johnson was a little girl who was a huge Star Wars fan who was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer when she was a little girl. She loved R2-D2, was her favorite character. Her father was one of the founders of the 501st Legion. So, big Star Wars fan family. Anyway, she unfortunately passed away, but as a way of sort of commemorating her and what the 501st has done for the fan community. They made R2KT, which is basically just a pink R2D2, and then they put on all kinds of extra details and little. She's got the black and yellow ring, like to make QTKT. But yeah, that and was also the first female astromech droid. Anyway, it's a really cute story. It's a little bit heartbreaking because a little girl has terminal brain cancer, but they made it before she passed away. She got to see it, so it's really a cute thing. And you can actually you can see R2KT in The Force Awakens, maybe, when they launch. I know it's in that R2KT is in the new series somewhere. Okay. I want to. Maybe it's not. I digress. She's in there, and it's a really cute story, and it's a really cute droid, and I liked them all, and I'm sentimental, so QTKT was my favorite about the whole thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So much worse than Plankton.
But another part of the arc, though, that I did enjoy was once they got through, and Nessie may not even know what I'm talking about because she didn't watch all the episodes.
I haven't watched them yet.
She had only so much time.
Is when they get through the void and to the town out in the middle of nowhere, and they find Gregor, a clone who doesn't know he's a clone, and I really loved just that whole sequence where when he gets his armor back and he goes out, there's some music behind it that I think is the same music they played like when Domino Squad was like finally getting their training right and back in season 3. And
hold on one second. This is Katie and R2KT.
Oh.
Got to meet her. They got to meet each other. Anyway, sorry, John. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I in a season where I feel like the clones weren't as big a part as say in season 4 where they had that whole arc. And actually, it will come back around because there's a really great clone arc in season 6. But yeah, it was great to see Gregor, who's I won't say anything, but just remember Gregor, because that may come back into play later on. Yeah. And yeah, it just I love that when he starts to remember, and he sees himself in Rex and and all that stuff. I love that, and I love that at the end of the arc when they've been through not that Gregor, definitely not that Gregor. This is a good Gregor. But at the end of the arc, when they've been through all this, and we just all of a sudden catch up with Obi-Wan and Anakin, on the ship, it's like they've got a whole side of their story in this arc, and it's like, no, we've just been hanging out with the droids instead. but yeah, and then when the explosion goes off, and Obi-Wan's like, and you thought this conference would be boring. But yeah, I had fun with the arc. I mean, you're right. I mean, I can get as defensive as I like, but it is the weak part of the season. But that doesn't mean it still isn't fun. I
enjoyed it. Yeah. Like I say, I wanted to hammer fist Gascon every time he opened his mouth, but like it made me feel something, so that works. Oh,
But there's no question that, well, actually, before we get into the Maul arc, do you want to do the mid-roll?
I do.
Yeah.
Is there anything else needs to be said about the droid arc?
Well, that first scene where they're going into the Dr. Mengele's lab, that was kind of creepy. I don't know if anybody else got that. I got creepy vibes off of that guy.
Yeah, the mad scientist squid thing. Yeah,
yes, yes. It's like, oh, he was just gonna wipe his memory. It'll be fine. It's no problem. You know, like, oh,
they didn't just wipe his memory. They removed his ability to have removed his ability to have memory.
Right. They made him a command center. And I'm like, is this a play on the guy who was inside the original R2D2 kind of thing? Is this meta? I don't know. The man in the can. I don't know.
And once again, Corporal Gascon earning some points with the audience by saying, "Don't coddle him. He's just a droid."
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Just a droid. But R2 getting the major upgrade was kind of cool because, he's going to use all of those upgrades. He's going to need them. He just becomes even more of a badass little mech droid.
And of course, Kelly drawing Doctor Who parallels, of course. Kelly, I don't know if you were in here earlier, but I mentioned that David Tennant was the voice of the droid in the Youngling arc. And I got a kick out of that. And also, as far as references to older sci-fi, in the Onderon arc, there's the moments where the droid ships go by your command.
I caught that. Oh, yeah.
That was straight up Cylons. Straight up. Even the ships kind of look like old Battlestar Galactica Cylon ships.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. But yeah, that by your command did not go over my head.
It did not go over my head at all.
Got me right here. Yeah, I think that's all I've got for the sort of like first half of the season. The second half is the better part. IMO.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
and really, it's only like 8 episodes or 7 episodes or something.
But they're so like that. That's the problem. And it's like, because I actually really enjoyed the first half of this season, but as is usually the case with a season of Clone Wars, it's like you got some really good episodes, but unfortunately, like then you get to the second half of the season and they're like mind-shattering episodes. So you're like, can we just talk about those? Can we talk about those?
Well, we got through like the first 13 episodes.
Yeah.
And so we've got like 7 left of the whole season and an hour to talk about them after the mid-roll.
Yeah.
So that means this must be that. This is the mid-roll. This is the part where I go, wait a minute. This is YouTube. I'm supposed to say like and subscribe and comment and share with your friends and then feed the algorithm, man. So do all that stuff if you haven't. I know most of you here already have, but we say it anyway because it's fun. Also going to shout out our patrons, our lovely Patreon High Council, Lord John Bronsteen the Wise, Sixto Sounds, aka JP the Axe Grinder, and of course Sean, aka Ridiculous Ed Tollett, our alpha patron. Drive safe, buddy. I know you're heading home right now. And they are supported by the lords and ladies of the realm, including Lady Leaf Underhill, Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, and our very own Reflective Rambling. This person right here.
Drawer of things.
Yeah. Drawer of awesome things.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, Cassie, I need to get with you about drawing something. I'll get with you later. So let's talk about what's coming up. John, do you have something coming up?
I actually do.
Nice.
So yeah, I am starting back up with some live streams. Not planning too far ahead because I'm kind of easing back into things, and I'm going to sort of, it won't necessarily be every week, but just kind of going with the natural flow. But next Saturday at 7 p.m., I'll be live streaming with Lady Triple and her husband Brian, or Mr. Lady Triple, to talk about
Lord Triple.
The next batch of episodes of The Bad Batch, which will be episodes, I think 3 through, I want to say either 7 or 8. I'm not sure.
8 is what you have written on the schedule.
Okay, 8. So yeah, this show has been amazing because it's basically been a sequel to Clone Wars, in so much that which is what I'm going to want to talk to you guys about when we have discussions about what direction to go. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like season 7 of Clone Wars, as much as it was resolving that show or this show, it's also like a backdoor pilot to the Bad Batch, in that it really sets up a lot of stuff that plays out in this first season of the Bad Batch. So it's been a joy just to watch that as a Clone Wars fan, to just see that narrative pressing forward. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be a live stream. So because honestly, guys, I can't stand sitting there in the chat watching myself talk.
Yeah.
So live stream it shall be.
Nice. Okay, so get your Bad Batch content. Saturday?
Yep, Saturday at 7 p.m.
Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Nessie? You got anything coming up right now?
Content-wise, I don't have anything upcoming.
Okay.
I've got a lot of life things going on right now. Some
Sure.
very, very big happenings, and with my situation. So I'm kind of stepping back a little bit and just going to chill until we see how things go, and then get back to the grind. So we're building a house, y'all.
Yep.
So that's going to take a lot of my energy and effort. So
yeah, I know you're moving basically halfway across the country and having to build a house to do it. And so
yeah,
we love you. We want your content, but we want you to be happy and have a good home, good house to live in, and all that, more than we want good content.
Yeah.
Only a little bit, but.
So I'll be putting some content out, but it won't be of the scale that, I have been.
Right. So let's talk about my content. I have no idea what we're doing next week. Literally none. Somebody please make a suggestion. Nessie won't be here next week. So, John, we might just pick something to retro review it,
Okay.
Maybe it's time for our Howard the Duck review.
No.
Potter's not even here to like piggyback off of that, so.
Yeah, where is Potter?
Come on, he lives in Ireland. He might be asleep, There's a good chance he's in bed already. But we'll figure out something, unless, excuse me. If somebody who's here has a great idea for some content, y'all know where to find me. All of our links and stuff are down in the description. Speaking of links down in the description, I have a gaming channel now. It has one video on there, and it's not very good. But coming soon, a whole lot more. Hopefully better, too. So I'm going to I didn't want to clog up Here Be Dragons with gaming stuff. So, yeah, there is a separate gaming channel. It's called Here Be Games.
Here Be Gaming.
Well, it's called Here Be Games right now. Ooh, Marvel Love Fest. Yes. Anyway, we'll talk. Titan AE, do it. That's a great movie, by the way. Titan AE, love that movie. But yeah, so go check that out. We're probably going to be starting a Skyrim play soon. I'm going to be doing some strategy gaming, be it Civilization or Stellaris or Crusader Kings. Why am I yawning so much right now? I don't know. You guys are boring, is what it is.
Sorry, Stephen.
But so I really don't know what
you knew what you were getting when you asked me to come on this.
I did. And here it is, a year and a half later, and I'm finally fed up.
We finally started to bore him, John. I guess.
Yeah.
Time for some new hosts.
But then so not next week. Don't know what we're doing, but the week after that, Loki.
We know what we're doing then.
Loki, and y'all, that show. I mean, it's only one episode so far, but it's the best episode one of this. Shut up. It's the best episode one of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus. My opinion.
So you're saying they just kicked the doors open and said, "What's up, y'all?"
I mean, you're just saying that because it was 50% Marvel movies.
Have we covered The Witcher yet? We did cover season 1 of The Witcher like a year ago.
Yeah, season 2 will be out soon.
So
trailers have dropped.
No, a 10-second.
Yeah.
Know.
I'm happy for what I can get. Okay.
Call that a teaser trailer.
A tease.
My ass.
Okay.
I'm happy for that Netflix didn't cancel it, John. Okay.
True.
Be thankful for
So next week I think I'm going to have Kate and Kelly join me for a Marvel Love Fest. If I can pull that off, that's what I want to do. Where we'll just like gush about the MCU and how awesome it is.
Oh, good. I don't have to tune in.
You're right. You can be nowhere around. Anyway.
See, John, we're just slowly getting phased out, and
it's hitting me, man. Why am I'm seriously. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so much.
It's been a long week for you, Stephen.
It has. I'm a brand new week. By the way, can you tell I have like a lot more color in my face?
I don't know. I think I have like some color on my skin. I'm not sure what that's from.
Yeah, so I'm back to surveying, which means I'm outdoors all day. So I've been getting a lot of sun.
God damn
it. Oh my gosh. I mean, it wasn't instantaneous, but it did not take long. Anyway, that's the end of the mid-roll.
It needed time to travel through the ether.
That's not the end of the mid-roll. One more thing. There are no dates set in stone yet, but somewhere around October 18th through the 22nd that week, we are probably going to be doing our own get-together, HereBeCon, here in Dallas. If you want to come, I mean, you got to get to Dallas, and we'll be probably just getting a nice big Airbnb and all hanging out together for like a week. If you want to come to that, you need to let me know because space is going to be limited. Like when I know how many people are wanting to come to that, then we'll know what size of Airbnb to get. Several people have already said to me that they want to come, but if I haven't heard from you and you want to come, let me know because it's happening. It's about 4 months away, provided Con of Thrones doesn't happen, which let's be honest, is probably not. Less than 2 months away with no clear indicator.
Word.
I don't think it's happening. But so we're going to have our own get together. We will be doing, it will be kind of close to like Halloween time. So maybe we'll have some Halloween themed activities to go do. There's great haunted house, fright nights at at Six Flags over Texas. Anyway, good times, good times. Yeah, Kate, I know, right? Right. I know you live thousands of miles away. I will say, if you live in Europe, just if you can get here, we'll find a place for you. I'm not going to make you pay for the house part two, just because it's going to be expensive enough to get a plane ticket. But if you're a European watcher, get here, we'll take care of you. Anyway, I digress. That's the end of the mid roll. John, take it away. The Maul arc.
I have been waiting for so long for you guys to see these episodes because, oh my god,
ever since the Mandalorian first showed up on the screen,
because I was like, oh, you guys think you know about Mandalorians and the history of Mandalore and what the Darksaber is, and you got no freaking clue. There's so much there.
Being all smug and everything.
Yeah, like I'm probably just gonna jump all over the place talking about these episodes because, like, I just like, oh my god, and Obi-Wan and Satine and just
so much going on.
Bo-Katan shows up, man.
Yeah, like, and yeah, because she was kind of like, just female Mandalorian henchman in her previous appearance in season 4, and this is where she really starts to become, a defined character, and this is where you had people who were like, man, we love this character. She's great because she's part of Death Watch, but she's loyal to her own, and there's much more going on with her, and then you obviously suspect, just the way she talks to Satine, and then, Obi-Wan's like, you're her sister, aren't you? And there's so much there. And the fact that, like, this was all the way back in 2013. And just for fans who have, loved this character for so many years now, and then to see her step into live action with Katie Sackhoff actually playing her in The Mandalorian, it's just what a long road that's been. And it's just, but Maul, like everything with Maul, the fact that like this is the fulfillment of all the promise that this character had, when he was first introduced, and that, everybody involved with this show, from, George Lucas, who had, the idea to actually bring Maul back into the show, and to Dave Filoni and all his writers, and Sam Witwer, who, performed the voice, like they just brought it to a whole nother level where he's like, there's like Shakespearean levels of villainy here with this character. And I love it. Yeah.
Just because you cut a character in half doesn't mean you got to throw him away.
Yeah.
Look at Grievous. He's just like a pair of eyeballs and a heart. Okay. They can bring anything back. And what I have noticed throughout Star Wars, the more of their actual human parts that they lose, like the more of their humanity that they're actually losing. I'm sure everybody else has thought about that too, but you kind of see it here too. Maul is half mech. His brother loses his arm. He's lost so much. He's lost his humanity, and he gets the prosthetic arm. And it's kind of weird when they do get damaged. You start to see that green mist coming out of them, kind of like the magic that's holding them together is kind of slowly dissipating.
And you got that tragedy with Sabotage, that's when Palpatine, finishes him off, then he just, reverts back to, who he was before He had all that magic done to him by the Night Sisters, and this guy who didn't choose any of this, and you see that there's so much to talk about that I can't touch yet. But it's
this, you gotta wait for it, John. Sorry.
It's this cycle of Maul trying to find his place and achieve some kind of power, and he thinks he's found it with his brother by his side, and then he loses that, and what's great is I suppose we can sort of dive right into this, is that his whole thing in that episode, the final episode of the arc, is that he's looking to break Obi-Wan by killing Satine, but Obi-Wan tells him before he kills Satine, he's like, only the weak given to the dark side. You will never break me, and Maul kills her as a way to break him, but he doesn't. Obi-Wan is able to hold himself together. It's actually Maul who falls apart with his brother's death and begs for Sidious to spare him and show mercy, and so there's great tragedy to Maul's character in that way. He's constantly trying to claw his way up to power, and he's going to find that hard. As he becomes too powerful, and Sidious senses that, and as he says, you have become a rival, and he can't have that.
Oh, it's so good. I just can hear Yoda saying, "Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering." I feel like Maul gets to anger and just stops there.
Yeah,
like he's so angry in a way that he wasn't angry in, not especially for a Sith Lord anyway, angry in Episode 1, Phantom Menace. But he's had, at this point, years to stew in his failure and to feel cast aside. And his rage is boiling just beneath the surface at all times. Like, he's seething constantly. Yeah. And I kind of love that as a choice for that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Just that constant hatred. And it's kind of... It's interesting because I think they kind of no, I'm not going to say that because you guys might not know about that, so I won't go there. But I also just say that I love the choices that are made in this series for the way Sam Witwer plays him and the way he's animated. You're always, as you say, Stephen, getting this sense of just like seething rage underneath everything that he does and says. It's just utterly brilliant, and it's a great direction to take the character, to add so much dimension to him as opposed to Episode 1, where he is just he's a very talented martial artist under some fearsome makeup, and that's about he's really cool in Episode 1, and he's great, but I just,
there's not a lot of character there.
Yeah, where they took him in this series and beyond is just absolutely mind-blowing, and just all the stuff with him building up like the crime syndicates, and this is all like the building blocks of what leads to that moment in Solo when he pops up. It's just like, Obi-Wan even says in this arc, I fear the underworld is a fertile place for Maul to flourish, and he's right. It absolutely is. And which is why, like, I've been begging for a Maul Underworld live action series from Disney Plus, because there's so much great stuff to be mined from that, and they could bring back Kira from Solo, and it would just
it'll be everything you ever wanted, John.
Yeah.
It won't be what I want, because I really hated that they killed off Sabotage.
Yeah, it's
like that character still had so much promise to him. Like, didn't you learn when you killed his brother not to do that? You know,
Yes, but I will say that's
like going forward, blah blah blah, stories to come, and okay, great.
no. I'll just say it's an important element of Maul's story, and we'll just say that he's the character who will keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. And losing his brother, his apprentice, is part of that. And so you'll see like why it's important that he loses his brother at this point. But Sabotage was a great character. No,
he really was.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Rip.
And so was Satine. And I will never get over that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you.
Yeah, I there are so many people clawing for the story of young Obi-Wan and young Satine, how their whole story started off because they just have such a beautiful and soul-crushing love story that ends in such a tragic way, and just that moment, the way he's holding her and says, I've always loved you, and it's just so just heartbreaking. I love it, but I hate it because it's so sad. And I do love that, like, the council says we cannot, interfere, Obi-Wan, and you don't even see anything. The next thing it cuts to him, already, arriving on the planet, and then he says, "The last time I borrow a ship from you, Anakin."
Yeah, like apparently Anakin has like extra undercover kind of ships. He's the guy to go see when you have to get around the council to do something.
Yeah,
he's like the guy that says, "I know a guy."
Skywalker's gently used ships.
I know a guy.
Honest Annies.
The honest used spacer. And he literally just punches it, to get it to work. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
I'm going to agree with Dan here. Like, if you did that in front of me, I don't know that I wouldn't, in that moment at least, turn to the dark side momentarily. But that's why Obi-Wan is the greatest Jedi, and I'm just some schlub.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of amazing because we go through all this drama of like watching Anakin's fall and like Luke's tempted by the dark side at various points, and Obi-Wan really is like the model of the truly like selfless Jedi who knows his way and stays focused on that path of light. And yeah, as you say, Stephen, it's why he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And yeah, and he had a good teacher. Absolutely.
The best teacher.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's even like, even in his training, which I think is in the Master and Apprentice book, even though I haven't gotten to read it yet. Like, Obi-Wan is like the best at at basics as far as like technique. So it's like his training is all on how to be sort of the best traditional Jedi, and he's the best at that. So both in like his fighting style and in sort of his way of being a Jedi and looking at things. So yeah,
he dedicated himself to the simplest and most direct path. It's like the simple is best, and he got it down, man.
And so even even this, which I think would absolutely break most of us, but he's able to hold it together. And yeah, it's, but even so, you still see the heartache on his face, which kudos to the animators, because it would be easy enough for me to say, man, James Arnold Taylor rocks, performing, but he's the vocal side of it. But that's nothing without the animators who bring these characters to life, and you really see the pain and anguish on Obi-Wan's face.
Yeah, and it's that he formed an attachment, which Jedis are forbidden, and it's just, I guess it's his ability, his compassion that that he has for other people. It shows through. And by his having that, that connection with Sabine, it kind of, he knows what's going on with Anakin and Padme. He knows there's something there. He just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to look at this. Nope. Nope. Isn't that little bit, yeah, dude, I know how it can be. It can be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you see signs of it too in Ahsoka. And, she formed she had that little crush thing going with Lux.
Yeah.
You saw that in the Onderon episodes.
And it also foreshadows her leaving that same arc because she's frustrated by how her hands are tied on Onderon. She's not allowed to fight directly.
And also, there's a moment in the Onderon arc, speaking of like, Obi-Wan knowing about, having an idea about Anakin and Padme, so too does Ahsoka, because in Onderon, Anakin says, I know how you're feeling. She's like, you do? And then that comes back around in the final moments of the season where he says, believe me, I understand. I understand wanting to leave the Order. And she turns and just says, I know.
Yeah.
And
chills, with those interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all kind of
so good
head now.
But I just want to say, like, were you guys kind of like, what the hell when the Maul arc ends with, Palpatine being like, I have,
yes.
I'll find other uses for you.
I'll find uses for you.
And then that's it.
Yes. I'm just like, what? Give it to me. What's happening here?
No.
Like, because I know he's not dead. He's in Solo, which is some years after this, because this is still before Order 66, and Solo takes place some years after Order 66. So he's still around. Palps was right there.
This is the kind of thing that's going to annoy you. That cliffhanger is addressed in the Son of Dathomir comic. We don't actually get that direct continuation on the show.
Okay, not even like in season 7.
No, because they had a finite amount of episodes that they could do in season 7. I think the feeling was that since they already told that story in the comics,
fair enough,
then it was best to put their efforts elsewhere. But I'm still hoping that one day they'll go back and fill in some gaps, because there's a number of arcs that they talked about that they never got to do, and I'd really like to see them brought to life in animated form. But for now, we have that story in the comics, and so that'll have to do. So I figure we'll probably just discuss that.
I'll look at it at some point.
That comic run when we do season 6, because season 6 actually is only, like I said, it's not a full season.
Yeah, it's half a season.
So it's about, I think it's 13 episodes, and so we can just kind of, we can just sort of, attach the comic run onto that.
Jeff's got a good question. You think Do y'all think Obi-Wan thought Anakin would get over it and choose the Order over Padme? I thought Obi-Wan was optimistic to the point where he thought Anakin would never have to choose. And like, as much as I love Obi-Wan and as fantastic as he is, his big flaw is his optimism. Like he's not suspicious enough. He's not, he's just, oh no, the Force is going to make everything okay. Yes, there will be troubles along the way, and yes, he's, nothing works out perfectly. But he's such an optimist. I don't think he ever saw it coming.
No, I mean, he's fully committed to the Chosen One prophecy, and especially after their time on Mortis, he's all in. He's like, Anakin's going to do the right thing at the right time, and
that's the Chosen One.
Because he's the Chosen One, and Sabine may not have broken him.
Satine,
whatever.
Sabine's a completely different character, yeah.
But I always get the names wrong. Satine may not have broken Obi-Wan, but Anakin sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
so who he loved more.
I think, yeah, that's the thing. Like, he always had so much faith in Anakin, and plus, he knows. My thought on it is that he knows that there's something going on, but I don't think he realizes how far it's gone. Like, I don't think he suspects that they actually got married.
He a baby daddy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well,
shall we move on to the final arc, the Jedi Temple Sabotage arc?
Oh.
Yeah.
Best. I mean, like, this is my favorite part of the whole series so far. These maybe 4 episodes. I think, it could be some recency bias, but
it is just so emotional, just because we've come to love Ahsoka so much, and there's some real infuriating moments in this arc as far as like the Jedi Council is concerned and the way they go about things. And I told you these are the episodes where I want to smack the shit out of Mace, because not to jump all the way to the end immediately, but like when everybody else is apologizing, he's like, this was your great trial. We see that now.
Right.
Like, you dick.
Yeah, I'm like, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. There's no redeeming yourself after that, Mace. You were the asshole the whole time. And they did a great job in this final arc. And in the whole series, leading to this final arc, you just saw one thing after another, and the disillusionment just piling on to the final few episodes where Ahsoka really just gets shit on.
Yeah.
That is a big steaming pile of crap that is laid on this this Padawan.
I will say this. Is it Barriss?
Yeah.
Okay. Barriss really went to some great lengths to frame Ahsoka, and like, well thought out plan and all of that. Don't know why.
I'm going to have to go back to some of the prior episodes in the season, because Barriss lost her master, in a prior season. And, I'm sure that's what started her down the path of disillusionment. But, I'd like to go back and just watch those couple of episodes with her and Ahsoka again, to see their interactions. But it's definitely this young I don't. Has she become a Jedi? Is she still Padawan status?
Barriss?
Barris.
Pretty sure she's technically still a Padawan.
Yeah, she's lost her master. She's lost her way, and with how things are going.
Well, and she, she's part of this, it's this building thing throughout the season of, that the Jedi have lost their way and that they've,
They're eating their young. Jedi are eating their young.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, she's not wrong. I mean, she's wrong in what she does.
But she does.
But she's not wrong in the things that she's saying before.
Yeah, not in her beliefs or her convictions.
Yeah,
right. It's in her methods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, but the way that everybody, all of the Jedi except for Anakin,
they just turn on her.
They just turn on her, and the ones who like don't want to, they go along with it because again, it's like it's politics, it's saving face. It's like we have to do this, otherwise it's gonna look like we're moving against the Senate. And it's
that whole scene with Tarkin. I mean, there wasn't a scene in this season that I did not want to punch that man in the face repeatedly.
Oh, it's so good.
You can just see the evil, smarmy Tarkin that we all love to hate, just shining through.
I'm sorry. Love me some Tarkin. Love him.
Love to punch him in the face.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is, they did him very well. I will say that. They planted the seeds from the earliest episodes with him, and he was kind of like, Atano, you have the right idea about things. And then the final scenes, the final episode, he's like, you're a murderer and I'm going to bring the full force of the death penalty on you.
Now, he is legal representative at that point. He should pursue, learning hands has taught me a few things, and like an enthusiastic and vigorous defense of your or representation of your client is important. That was an enthusiastic and rigorous representation of of his side of the argument, and I thought Padme was as well. Like, I'm not big on courtroom drama stuff, but it was really good. I really appreciated that that they took the time to kind of like give a good prosecution, give a good defense statement. And I can understand why they reached the decision they did, but they were literally about to hand out a guilty sentence to Ahsoka. Like, it was about to happen.
There. Yeah. And the whole time it was the one-armed man that did it. I got the fugitive vibes from.
Oh yeah, they even had the pipe theme.
The pipes and everything, And thank you. At least it wasn't Tommy Lee Jones saying, "I don't care." It was, it was.
It was Anakin saying, "I absolutely care.
I do care."
And then, saying, trust me, Ahsoka, and they were saying, I do, but you have to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh God, so much good. And like, this is such a monumental, like, piece of why Anakin ultimately turns to the dark side. It's, it's the fact that the council just completely turns on Ahsoka, and and her leaving the order. It's, this is a very crucial, like, moment in his disillusionment with the Jedi Order. And like that's why, like, even when the series kind of hung unfinished for many years, like, it still felt like it overall had contributed, like, very important building blocks to the story of his fall and Revenge of the Sith, because you did get to this, building up, especially to this moment, which feels like such a crucial piece.
Yeah, again, people have said that Clone Wars show is where you get to see that the rise and fall of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship, friendship. You get, like you come to understand the slow process of being turned to the dark side that Anakin goes through. And yeah, this season you really see it. And
Yeah.
I also appreciate that they're not being precious with the Jedi, so to speak. They're flawed. They're wrong about this and that, and they, maybe they're mostly good guys, but they mess things up. People need our help. We can't help. They're not in the Republic. The Republic won't let us help. Well, you're like galactic peacekeepers, but you're also generals in the army. Like it's really great. Way off topic. How do you pronounce this D&D monster? Okay, there are two ways. Most people say Tarask. I always called it the Tarask. There you go. Way off topic, but like it's a D&D question. I'm gonna answer it. It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's a Dungeons and Dragons kaiju, basically. All right, go ahead.
And let's not skip over the fact that we get an appearance from our favorite former Sith apprentice, Asajj Ventress.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What a fantastic journey she's been on. Like, just because when she first showed up, I was like, I don't care.
Now I care.
Just like, cool, interesting character design, double sabers, blah blah blah, whatever. I don't really care. But now I'm just like, yes, give me all of the Asajj Ventress I can handle. She's like another character that's really grown on me as she's had time to change throughout the episode.
And she's, she was open for like trying to get a pardon from the Jedi. Like, dude, I'm changing. I'm not that person anymore.
Right. I'm just a bounty hunter now.
Yeah. Well, she had the opportunity to, well, she didn't have them. Never mind.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess. I was about to mention that when she's talking with Anakin and she's talking about how she sees, herself in Ahsoka and what they're going through. It's like you and your precious Jedi turned your backs on her. It's just like getting this from her, of all the people and what she's gone through. It's so great. But I have to bring more bad news to you guys. Like, if you want the rest of her story, it's in that novel, Dark Disciple. Because
you gotta read a book.
Yeah, it won't be in the Clone Wars.
Star Wars making me read stuff.
How dare they? But Dark Disciple, Master and Apprentice, Son of Dathomir.
Yeah,
what else is on the reading list, John?
Well, but here's the thing.
Novels.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I do want to say, like, as much as now, it's like, oh, couldn't we have gotten that in animation form? But the fact of the matter is, when and we still have the season 6 episodes, but like we got those, and as far as we knew, nothing else was coming. So it was really godsend that Filoni and his team were really going the extra mile to make sure that these stories were told in some fashion, that we got a bit more of the Darth Maul storyline, at least some resolution to what happened to him after these episodes, and the fact that we then got more of Ventress's story in a full novel, which is great. Like, to be able to dive into character, that's something that a novel can do in ways that or other storytelling mediums can't do. So it was great that they were interested in caring for the Clone Wars in some fashion. But of course, the reason why we never in all those years got the big one, which was mythically built up throughout the years in other shows, known as the Siege of Mandalore, is because now we know Filoni always was like hold that one back because who knows? One day.
I might get a live action show that's just going to dive deep into it.
Well, no, we got it in
season 7, right?
It's season 7, yeah, and which is I'm very glad that he held back.
Spoiler alert! I haven't watched it.
Well, no, that's not a spoiler. It's like it's just been it had been built up for years and years, so I'm glad that they didn't tell that story in another medium because it ended up being told the way it should be told. But just the way this season ends with, just everything, from the animation to the music to just the
music was good.
The voice acting, which by the way, I want to say like the final arc of this season was like actually recorded with a full orchestra, because the thing with these animated shows is most of the time the scores were recorded. They weren't recorded, they were performed basically electronically with synthesizers, because most of the time for animated shows they're not going to spend the money to actually get a real orchestra. But for the final episodes of this season they did, and I think you can tell with the weight of those, especially those final moments, when Ahsoka says, "I'm not coming back," and there's a little touch in that scene that I love. It's when Anakin goes after her, and then Obi-Wan starts to go, and I think it's Plo Koon who puts his hand on Obi-Wan's shoulder. Yeah, and it's just.
I gotta say this too. He doesn't do much in this season, a little bit, but I love Plo Koon, man. God, I love him.
He's so great.
He didn't vote against Ahsoka.
Yeah,
it wasn't unanimous.
So
we know.
Yeah,
I feel when Uncle Plo held out.
Mace probably voted for.
He did.
Voted to convict.
Mace votes Republican.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think Yoda did, because he was the one who said, though not all of us are in agreement. So I got the impression that he and Plo Koon were definitely on Ahsoka's side, as was Obi-Wan, and obviously. It's just like I said, it's the Jedi made me so angry in these episodes, and just I will never not play that final scene over and over in my head, because it's such,
What final scene? This final scene right here?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, which is sort of why I'll leave it up to you guys in the end, but the reason why I was sort of arguing for going through these shows in a more chronological, or not chronological, but like air date fashion of
release date,
is because the thing is, like, this moment in particular hung over the fandom for so long.
And they hated it. Why do you want to subject me to that? I thought we were friends.
But there's also moments in like Rebels that like tap into the fact that like this is the moment when we said goodbye to Ahsoka, and and the fact that we haven't seen what comes later. So yeah, like I said, I won't make that decision for you guys, but especially with, like I was saying, with Bad Batch, it really does feel like it picks up like right where season 7 of Clone Wars leads off. So I mean, I guess there's definitely advantages to either way, but yeah, I will just say that, man, I love this show so much. It's
And just knowing that behind the scenes is Palpatine manipulating the Jedi Council the whole time to expel Ahsoka, to put her, transfer her to have a military trial by his toady, Tarkin. It's just nail after nail after nail in Anakin's coffin. He is just major power playing behind the scenes to get exactly what he wants. Which is apparently another disciple, because this will be the third one. He's thrown one away. He'll throw Dooku away. He's just throwing them away left and right. He's got a rival, got to get rid of him.
Yeah, and I love the
and
jumping back for a second, I love the fact that even before before the fight starts, between Palpatine, Maul, and Savage, as soon as Palpatine walks in, Maul is immediately subservient, and he's like, Master, I've been doing all this for you. It's he likes to play a tough game, but he's going to at least give the appearance of
Can I just say,
bowing immediately.
Can I just say, having watched season 2 of Mandalorian, and then watching Palpatine's entrance there, his entrance on Mandalore, just walking through everything is like the inverse of Luke doing the legend of Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
This is like Doom. This is the legend of Palpatine. This is the man being the man, and he's evil and he's vicious, and it's just like it's nothing. He cuts through them all. It's like it's butter. Like they're not even a blink
like
on his
butter.
radar. Like butter.
Butter.
It's just showing how powerful in the Force this person is.
That was the best lightsaber. That was the best fight scene of the whole series so far. In my opinion, there have been some good ones, but Palpatine versus Maul and Savage. Oh my God, just was so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There can only be 2, not 4.
There can be only 2.
Yeah.
And crossover we need Highlander and Star Wars.
Which, it'll happen eventually because Disney's buying everything. But yeah, and then once again, I just love the way that episode ends with Maul just crawling away and going, "Show mercy, please." He's begging, and it's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to kill you.
Oh no,
I will find another use for you."
that can happen to you besides death.
But go ahead, Steven.
He's going to be an underworld kingpin. From the sound of it.
He will serve his purpose.
Because some of his story is in Rebels as well. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, it's definitely a different phase of his story because there's a lot of time between Clone Wars and Rebels. So actually, he's in a completely different place by that point. But then it does sort of that's also what I've been talking about. Rebels also kind of plays on the sort of, oh my God, what happened in between all this time? And so, yeah, but I just, oh God, I just love all that stuff. And it's
okay.
So.
Stop saying I love all that stuff. Tell me something new. I'm messing with you, man. It's a great show.
It is. It's
a side redemption arc. That's what I want.
No, I remember what I was going to say, but I'm just really so happy for you guys to have gotten to see, especially the stuff with involving Mandalore and Maul, and because there's so much in the history of Mandalore that is established not just on this show but also in Rebels when we get there. That like it adds so many different layers to the Mandalorian that I don't think you get, without having seen these shows.
I'm glad I'm watching it. Like,
Me too.
Ahsoka is legit one of my favorite characters in Star Wars now. And I haven't even and I've only just gotten up to the part, where she leaves. This part right here. There she is, right
So
there.
sad.
Ahsoka, be careful out there. It's dangerous.
She leaves her little Padawan snippet with him. His little snips.
And now you guys have the answer to why she's not a Jedi.
Mm,
Because she lost faith in them.
because they lost faith in her.
Because they lost faith in her. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, anything else want to say about this season?
I'll be cruel and say, what are you guys looking forward to?
There's things to look forward
clones.
to.
More Rex, more Cody. Yeah, more clones.
Yeah.
That was
We'll
my it's not a complaint, but like if I was going to knock one thing on season 5, it's I wanted more Rex.
Yeah.
Maybe a little, maybe a little Anakin and Padme, a little bit more of their interactions, as
Which I will actually say there's an arc in season 6 which was originally intended to be in season 5, which they moved. They pulled it out because there was I'm trying to remember. I think it was the whole thing with the Younglings arc, which was originally a standalone thing that they showed at Star Wars Celebration, I want to say. And they actually decided to just integrate it into the main season 5. And so they moved some other episodes out. So there's
the
so there, yeah.
They would take the droids out. Just saying.
But there is an Anakin Padme arc in season 6.
Yeah.
So you'll get that.
Nice.
Yeah. Because it is getting, toward the end.
But there is also a 2-episode Jar Jar Binks arc. So
I know which ones
The best thing about season 5, not a mention of Jar Jar. Not
a one. Best arc of the season. The season 5. Best one. No Jar Jar.
I like that. It's funny, Miss Man Jones says, when people say that men are trash and people say not all men, they mean Captain Cody specifically.
Well, I don't know. Cody is the one who.
Or Rex.
Yeah, Rex is the one I think you can say that about because poor Cody does get his mind taken over in Revenge of the Sith. So.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Cody. Oh. Now, after all this, I'm going to have to watch Revenge of the Sith and just cry my eyes out.
Trust me, when you guys get to the end of the series, you are going to want to immediately watch Revenge of the Sith. So.
Yeah.
It's already on the list. Already on the list.
Yeah. So when should we do season 6? And should we just the 13 episodes season 6? And then we'll decide what to do after that. When should we do that? Do you want to be here for it, Nessie? I assume you do.
Yeah. Because I'm reading that comic book, man. I got that comic book down. Need to get Dark Disciple down.
So I think in a month then sounds, because 2 weeks from now is Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you're only here every other week for those of you that miss that. So 4 weeks from today, which will be like the second weekend in July, I want to say.
Sure.
7/4. Looks like July 11th. July 11th, we'll do season 6, and then we'll figure out what we're watching after that.
Okay.
But I'm loving it. I'm loving like the deeper lore of Star Wars. You know, Star Wars fan, have been my whole life. But I'm glad I'm getting to go back and catch the stuff that I missed because, you know, was raising a family and working and all that. You know.
Yeah. So we'll talk about season 6, and also we'll include the Son of Dathomir comic arc in that discussion, because that is like, if we do end up going straight through to season 7, like that arc is very important to include. So we'll just talk about it as though it were, you know, an arc of the show.
Okay, cool. Well, Nessie, I know you don't have anything coming up on your channel right now. Life stuff has got you putting your focus elsewhere.
Doing the Here Be Dragons thing and thinking about stuff.
Right. John?
Yep, next Saturday at 7 p.m. I'll be doing coverage of episodes 3 through 8 of Star Wars The Bad Batch with Lady Triple, and I'll make you happy, Stephen, Lord Triple. And
Lady Triple, depends.
Yeah. And which, you know, I had such a blast with them talking about the premiere and the second episode. So we're gonna have a blast doing that. Like, they are such huge Star Wars fans that it's really warmed my heart to be able to continue on with that discussion. It's gonna be great.
And great folks in general.
Yeah.
Christina and Brian are fantastic people.
Good peeps.
Good peeps. Don't know what we're doing next week. I'll probably know within a day or two. Got an idea. Got to talk to Kate and Kelly about it. See if they're up for it. If they are, that's what we'll roll with because it'll be easy. But the week after that, Loki, first 3 episodes. God, I really loved that first episode. Like, it is exactly what I wanted it to be. And if you remember, I was a little bit, you know, I enjoyed WandaVision a lot. I enjoyed The Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I was cooler on the first parts of both of those. I am like completely all in on Loki just from the get-go.
And I will say, like, all joking aside, there's a lot that I really enjoyed about this first episode of Loki. I'm really just digging like the whole vibe of the show. I think it's visually, it's very kind of different. I think, and I don't know, it just feels different. Like what I really have been wanting from these shows, and I got this from WandaVision, definitely, I think, is for it to feel just, you know, different and unique. And I felt that from the first episode of Loki, definitely. It almost like the TVA almost doesn't really feel like it would belong, you know, in the MCU at large. And I'm kind of digging that.
I'm not trying to do the whole review now, but I am like hyped to talk about Loki because it's been really, really good.
Of like all the new shows, that were announced, Loki was the one that I was most looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Anyway, good stuff. I've got a gaming channel. John, you got a live stream on Saturday. I do gaming every Thursday night on my gaming channel, and might be adding other nights soon. I'm not trying to lock myself into anything because I got a new job. Nessie's got a channel, not making content right this minute, but #soon, we hope.
Yeah.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I need to pee. Everybody who's here right now, I will one last time say, please like, please subscribe. You know, there are things that unlock when you get enough subscribers. I want a community tab, which takes 1,000. It takes 1,000 subs, but I want a community tab on YouTube. So get me there. Get us there. Do the thing.
Do the thing. Tell your friends to do the thing.
Right.
Even
Move
if
the
they
thing
don't watch us.
and that other thing.
And the other thing.
But yeah, so thanks for joining us, everyone who's here live. We love you guys. We appreciate you for joining us live. If you're watching this later, we appreciate you just slightly less. And yeah, we'll see everybody next week for some unknown topic. But I'll tweet about it once I do know.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And just once again, I want to show off my awesome Ahsoka Tano shirt.
It is fantastic. I love it.
I'm so excited.
Team Tano. All right, y'all. So you know what it is. Until next time, peace and be excellent to each other.